you. She'll appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay.
Alright. Here we go.
Oh, you got your studying machine too?
Alright. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 12.
Wow, 12. That's a high number.
This is, okay. We are coming to you not live from my bedroom on the center of the outskirts of downtown Houston, Texas.
That joke never gets old.
What are we talking about this week, Jacob?
Well, first of all, we're going to mention how my face looks like a freaking Marshmallow Man, and I'm going to be talking weird all episode.
It's okay, you know nobody's watching, they're just listening.
That's true, but I think...
Even though this is only on YouTube.
That's true, but I think it makes my voice sound even worse. We're talking about artificial intelligence.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And we're going to be talking about how it'll happen, when it'll happen.
Mm-hmm. We've got data, we've got exact years, we know who's going to do it.
Yeah, is it good? Is it going to be good for us? Is it going to be bad? Should we try to stop it?
We already have it to an extent.
Well, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, let's first talk about what is artificial intelligence, because like you said, we kind of already have it to a certain extent. I mean, Google's search engine is sort of an artificial intelligence in the sense that it can respond to human commands. Am I right?
Right.
So in that sense, it kind of is. But obviously, when you think of artificial intelligence, you're thinking T-9000s, you're thinking Skynet, you're thinking the other famous AIs that are out there.
Her or whatever. I don't know the...
That was the recent one, that movie Her with what's his face and her face. But yeah, that's the...
Do you have a definition for artificial intelligence, Josiah? Did you study?
No, I'm explaining it.
Okay.
I don't want some stuffy definition.
Okay, I like definitions. There's people like me out there who are very specific and like definitions, but okay.
No, I'm just explaining it organically.
Okay. Could you define artificial for me?
Yes, man-made.
Could you define intelligence for me?
No, nobody can do that.
Yeah, that's really hard actually.
So I mean, defining what that is pretty hard. So it just depends on what definition you want to use as to whether we have it or not, so by some definitions we do have artificial intelligence, like Google, sort of like Siri, all that stuff. But obviously we're going to be talking about I'm
going to cut you off there.
Okay.
Because not just Google and Siri, we have in video games, we call them AI for a reason. The bots and stuff that you play against in video games, they respond to anything you do in an intelligent manner. They are programmed to respond in an intelligent manner to defeat you or whatever, right? So that's a little different than Google. See, Google, you're just telling it something and it does it for you. Where in a video game, like a shooter or something, the enemies are like intentionally dodging and stuff what you are doing, right?
Well, to a certain extent, but it's just a more complex version of that.
Right.
Because it's essentially, you shoot at it, it knows the pre-programmed response to that option.
Right.
To that external stimuli.
Right.
If you will.
But we, like everyone calls that AI in modern day. So that's like our where we're at with AI right now. You
telling me video games is the pinnacle of...
Oh, not the pinnacle, but I'm saying in like modern day life where we experience it all the time, people play video games all the time.
Yeah, video games. I think more people Google stuff than play video games.
Okay, sure. But Google to me feels less like an AI than a video game character.
Well, yeah, it feels less like it, but it is essentially doing the same thing.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah,
you've got a number of programmed... There's only so many things you can do within a video game, right?
Right.
And anything that you could possibly do has been accounted for.
Right.
By the AI. And it's just responding to one of the many options that you have to throw at it.
Right. So you're saying that Google is basically our like lowest point of AI, And when we get to something like video game characters, you're just taking a bunch of Google points and adding them all together, right?
Well, no, to a certain degree, Google is actually more complex of an AI because it can respond to literally billions of different inputs.
But it doesn't respond as you keep going, where an AI would, where a video game would. Like Google, you type in something, and if you type it in wrong, it'll be like, "Did you mean this?" or something like that.
Yeah.
And because it's programmed to respond like that. But whereas a video game, it would be like, okay, the AI detects that you do this, and then it detects that you do this on top of that, and it calculates what to do with those two informations combined.
Does it?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I don't think it can. I don't think it's tracking compound movements.
I think
There's
so.
only so many things. Okay, so you're talking about like a boss battle, right?
Well, any
Let's just
video
say
game.
like a boss battle, right? You got the boss in
See,
front
a
of you.
boss battle's a bad example because bosses usually in video games, assuming it's just like an action RPG or something, they usually go on rotations and they're not actually intelligent.
Exactly. Like there's some pre-programmed way that you're supposed to defeat it.
But let's take a like an online card game where you're playing against a bot. You play something, and you end your turn or whatever. The bot sees what you did, responds to it, and then it's back to your turn. You keep going back and forth, and they keep adding based on what you've already played. If you played a card and they didn't deal with it 3 turns ago, now they would be like, okay, now's the time to do whatever to deal with all your cards or whatever. They're adding on top of it. It's not just a one-time thing, like Google is.
I don't know about that. I think it's still just call and response, essentially.
You think so?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't study, so I can't verify.
Yeah, well, now there is this, like just like 2 or 3 years ago, IBM made this AI that could play Jeopardy. And the reason that's significant is because if Jeopardy, the questions, it's trivia.
Right.
But it's not straight up questions. They use like alternate meanings of words, and they use word play, and they kind of do like puns and stuff like that the questions are based off of. So it's not like, what year was George Washington born in. They're asked in sort of a weird way that sometimes involves like human inferencing.
What was their data pool for that? Did they just get like all of the internet or something on this bot, or what did they do?
I have absolutely no clue.
Because that's a lot of information they need to know. Because they could easily program it to like specifically be able to answer any of the questions that Jeopardy has done in the past, or any ones that they might predict would happen. But if they can't predict some questions or something, then the AI couldn't.
Yeah, and the AI beat every human that played it. So that's a pretty smart.
Did the AI get any answers wrong?
I don't.
That's
know.
important.
know.
So if they didn't, then it's it must have been programmed to have those questions inside of it.
Yeah, I mean it's not really fair for a human to be playing a machine like that, but even still, just the fact that it can read like the different like word play that's going on Jeopardy. Just watch Jeopardy and you'll see what I'm saying. They're not the most straightforward.
Dude. Chess is a perfect example. You've played that computer version of chess. You make a move, the bot makes a move. Then you make a move, the bot adds up the 2 moves that you've done and then responds accordingly to that. It's not just one instance where it's responding. It has to keep responding over and over again based on what you've already done. But I understand what you're saying. I'm not going to just like play devil's advocate here. I know what you're saying. It's not doing a human thing where like if you're sitting across from a person, you can be like, why would they do that move when they know I know how to counter that, and they would do all this like mental games and stuff because a bot can't do that. But it is responding with more layers than Google would.
Well, like a chess bot, if you move your pawn up 2 spaces, right?
Right.
And then you move another pawn up 2 spaces, different pawn. It's just it has the best, whatever was programmed as the best move for that situation.
Right.
Pre-programmed into it.
But that's okay. Maybe that is the same then.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're probably right. Because even though there's like billions of circumstances that could come up where it needs a response, it still goes with like the most probable one, right? Like, I think I've heard like how those chess things are programmed is they don't sit there and like the game tries to process the one move that's like has the highest percentage. It tries to process which move to take that has the highest percentage in a set amount of time that it's allowed. Like the computer is like when they made the game, they made it so the computer has to take the highest percentage that it can figure out in the time that it has.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like they could give the computer like 5 seconds or whatever, and it would be like, okay, it's figured out this one. Whereas like it would be almost just like reading a hard drive, where like the computer could technically go through every single archive and be like, oh, here it is. This one has a 99.5% chance of leading me to victory, right? Mm-hmm. But realistically, it would probably find the one that's like 80% chance in what the 5 seconds or whatever.
I see what you're saying. You know, what'd be cool is if you actually fed the AI previous games from that player, and then it could actually calculate the probability of the next move for you specifically.
Oh, that would be cool.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, 5 games ago, somebody else did this move on him, and he responded with this, or
I bet they could do that, and I bet it wouldn't be that hard, actually.
Yeah, probably, yeah. That's pretty cool. But anyway, back to AI. So, yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about more complex AI than just that.
Right.
But essentially, that's what we are.
What do you mean?
As humans, that's essentially what we're doing.
Right, but the scenario that I said with the chess thing, we can do mind games and stuff where a computer can't predict that kind of thing.
Well, not yet, but it's essentially a numbers. It's a quantitative issue.
Right.
Because we can just remember and think about more factors than you can program. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, so there's that.
So how would an AI deal with circular reasoning? Would it just pick one?
I don't know. Give me an example.
Okay. It's the common term is WIFOM, which is what people use when they're playing the strategy game Mafia. Have you ever played that? It's like a party game. Okay, I don't need to explain. Anyways, it stands for wine in front of me. It refers to the Princess Bride, where the guy has... It is Princess Bride, right?
Oh, yeah.
So with the wine, and he's like, well, I would think he poisoned this one. And it's the circular reasoning of like, well, maybe he knows. It's basically the reasoning that comes forth when your view is known to be scrutinized or whatever. And so, how would an AI deal with that? Would the AI just calculate, would it get to a point and calculate that there's circular reasoning here and just be like, oh, I can pick either one, it doesn't matter, or...
That's a good question. Maybe it would just cycle through all the options that it has.
The 2 options? It would just go back and forth over and over.
The different reasons why.
What do you mean?
Like, okay, the obvious thing would be to poison me, so maybe he wouldn't do that. Why would he poison himself? He's going to kill himself. It must be mine.
Or, no, I think the thought process is he put the poison in his own cup, so I would think this way, and then it's like, no, he actually put the poison in my cup because he knew I would think this way. No, he actually put the poison in his cup because he knew I would think this way. No, he actually put the poison in my cup because he knew I would think this way.
Well, that would just go on forever.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Well, just only do that once, and then who do you end up on?
Exactly. It doesn't, I mean, it's just...
No, if you only do that once, who do you end up on?
It depends on which... I think the natural way you would be like, oh, he put the poison in my cup. It's normally the first thought, right?
Right.
And so then if you only go through it once, then you would be like, okay, so he put the poison in his cup. But then in order to realize that you're going in circles, you have to go back to the my cup thing. And so then you would probably take his cup. There's no logical solution here if that's what you're trying to find. Because it just doesn't exist. Which is why I bring up the anomaly or whatever, I guess.
Maybe we just keep cycling through forever.
Isn't that Isn't that like the joke and like when people talk about robots and stuff, you give them a paradox or something and there's no way to actually calculate it and so they just like blow up or whatever?
Sure.
Okay, well, we've solved the problem of AI turning against us and going evil. Got it. We're done.
There we go.
See you later.
Oh, Ultron. There's another famous AI that's coming up.
Yeah, there he is.
Avengers 2, Age of Ultron.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait.
Get stoked.
Superman.
He's gay.
Justice League.
Can't stand DC.
Gotcha.
What?
Very good. You passed the test.
Oh, did
Superman and Justice League are not even related to Ultron.
I? No, they're not.
You passed.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay, so what are we going to talk about next, Jacob?
Well, I guess, if we were to... okay. If we were to start focusing on building an AI right now, what would be our purpose for that? Like, what is the purpose of creating... Like, let's just talk about the standard AI, like a humanoid robot who has basically an intelligent brain similar to a human's.
Yeah, there really isn't. I mean, it would all have to be designed very specifically, you know? Like, elderly care. Nobody actually likes to take care of old people, you know?
Some people do.
Never mind. Yeah, you want to put a healthcare robot out there. You know, help old people. Military robots, you know, maybe they can think for itself. Nobody actually wants to...
That's an interesting question. When you start bringing in robots instead of humans, it's like, so are we just throwing machinery at each other? Like, we've already put a restriction on war itself where we don't do biological warfare or nuclear when we fight wars. So are we just going to send robots at each other and we're not actually doing any damage to each other? What, are we destroying each other's economy by, like, blowing up our metal or something?
No, I mean, you can... You know, there's like land
Yeah.
that you can control,
Yeah.
right?
It's weird though.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, like that's like each AI would have to be pretty specific because, like, even you know, we have humans, but none of them specialize. You know, I mean, you're not going to take a sniper and have him perform surgery. You know.
Right.
That's just how it goes. So even just like humans specialize in things, these AIs would have to specialize in things.
So, but when we get to that point where we say, okay, we need a robot to be able to do this because they could do it better than a human, let's say, or it's a job that humans don't want to do, like taking care of old people, or
like
surgery, a machine could probably be more precise than a human could,
and
right?
it wouldn't be like a humanoid robot either.
Right.
It'd be like an operating table with arms. And
Yeah. But in that scenario, we would say, okay, it has artificial intelligence and like the low sense like of what Google were talking about. Like it's like, okay, I see this, so I need to do this. But we wouldn't necessarily need to program the robot that's doing surgery to be able to have emotions or detect like mental states of certain people or something, right? We could just create AI in scenarios like surgery or taking care of old people. Taking care of old people is a little different because you're dealing with like an alive person. You could be like, oh, it would need to detect that this person is off their pills or whatever to be able to give them a pill or something.
We could just prick them, test their blood, see if it's in there.
Well, right, but if the person's like running away from the robot and is acting weird or something, the robot would need the intelligence to determine, hey, this person is off of their medication.
Yeah. Which is what we're talking about. That's like what a human would be able to do.
Right, but what about the surgeon one? Like, that doesn't need the artificial intelligence like that. A surgeon one would just need, okay, I'm looking at this. This is this size, this is this. I need to cut out this. Let me determine, do this, and, you know.
Right. What are you saying? That doesn't require as much intelligence?
What I'm saying is that doesn't require, like, I guess like emotional or mental deciphering skills. Like
That's true. Yeah, so there'd be different levels. You know, not every AI would need to be as smart as the next.
So where do we run into the issues of having them?
Where are the issues?
Yeah.
Well, like with our healthcare robot example, that is a robot that can detect human emotion and whatnot. that is essentially a human being, a person.
Debatable, because the robot itself could not necessarily have emotion.
Well, yeah, I guess that's true.
You can program it to just be like...
Yeah, when does this become a problem?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, okay, so...
It's when they get emotion is when it's the problem in all the sci-fi movies and stuff,
That's
right?
when... Yeah.
Yeah.
It's because... Yeah. And... First, let me backtrack a little bit here, too.
Mm-hmm.
The first AIs probably won't be humanoid robots like
Oh, no.
or especially the smartest ones will not be like, like an electronic brain inside of like a robot that looks like a body with hands and fingers.
No, it would be like
It would be
the...
like a desktop or something.
Yeah, like the mother thing from iRobot. Remember, their like facility had that brain that was just all throughout the building and stuff.
Yeah,
So
it'll be like that.
Which was basically just like a Google system.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it was. You could tell her to do stuff.
Yeah, you could be like, shut those doors, or you could be like, give me the camera footage from this time, and just basically just Google.
But yeah, so the smartest AIs won't be humanoid robots. They'll be like, just big rooms of processors and stuff. Or
Right.
something similar to that. So by somebody, the projections, if you average out all the projections for artificial intelligence, people say by 2025 we will have a artificial intelligence as smart as a human, and then somewhere
What does as smart as a human mean, though?
it means
Like,
equal intelligence.
because, okay, first of all,
Well, I guess there are some dumb people around. So
No, not just
could
that.
lower the bar.
See, I was thinking about that too, but not just that. Like, first of all, if we're making it an AI,
Yeah.
it immediately has more information than any human could, because we're going to give it access to Google and the internet, just like that, Where a human, we have to whip out our smartphones or whatever. So it could be more intelligent. The question is like, what makes it more human-like? Because you're saying in 2025 we'll have an AI as intelligent as humans. Well, I say no, it'll probably be more intelligent to humans because it has more information than any human does, than any one human does, because it has access to the internet through its brain, right?
Yeah, but raw data isn't the same thing as intelligence.
Well, that's why I asked you to define intelligence.
Well, in this sense, yeah, obviously.
I'm Googling it.
What?
The definition of intelligence.
Well, obviously, yeah, more information means, smarter in some sense. But, what we're talking about here is like human intelligence that's unique to humans. You know what I mean? Like stuff that's really hard to quantify and write down. Like,
Okay,
how do you know if somebody's angry?
Well, we could program that into the machine. We could
Right,
play
it's just it would be very, very difficult.
if they're raising their voice or I
Yeah,
don't know.
but there's also lots. Yeah, see, it's hard to put that into some kind of a code.
Yeah.
And then there's lots of reasons why somebody might raise their voice. They could be excited. They could be trying to get somebody else's attention. You've
But
got to
there's
account
different
for all
like
that.
wavelengths in the sound of the voice, right?
Yes, and then it also gets kind of specific to the individual human that you're talking about.
That's true.
So it'd be hard to program all of that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm sure you could find like a ratio, like take the generic human being and see what where their voice goes to on their scale when they're
Generic
angry.
human being.
Just any human, and be like, okay, so okay, here's my example. Okay, let's say you have a timeline, right? Not really a timeline. Oh, you've got like a wavelength thing, right? And it's like, okay, so we have their regular speech, right? And then
Regular.
shut up. And then when
I'm saying that baseline is going to be move up and down per person.
no, listen. When they're mad, that's what I'm saying though. We have a scale. When they're mad, we could say, okay, it's maybe 3/4 of the way here, and when they're excited, it's maybe 1/4 of the way here or something.
What are you measuring?
Then we take that scale and put it over to another human being.
What are you measuring?
Like the frequency of their voice and the volume and stuff.
That's the same thing. I could be calm and angry at the same time. There's like a lot. There's like.
Well, right, but we're talking. You were saying how people's voices are different and stuff, but we could probably find a scale. There's probably a scale of the wavelengths and volume and stuff.
Yeah, there is a way to quantify all of human emotion, I'm sure.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, why not? I'm just saying it's just really, really hard. That's why we haven't done it yet.
Right.
We don't have a robot that can tell when people are angry.
That's because we don't know when people are angry. No.
We kind of do.
Some people don't.
I mean, yeah, but, you know, that's just what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, emotional intelligence is, like, the hardest area to get into because it's it's kind of more abstract.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, yeah.
So, yeah, by 2025, though, or thereabouts, we'll have something like that.
Well, let me read you this definition of intelligence here because it clears things up. The ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skills. That's much different than just having facts in your brain or whatever.
That's what I said.
All right. Well, I'm not disagreeing with you. Am I?
Yeah, but it shouldn't be a revelation to you because I just told you that.
Oh, okay.
That's my point.
Nah, see, I'm an AI and I'm smart enough to realize that I don't just trust every human being I meet.
Oh!
Oh.
Yeah, see, at a certain point, though, in the programming of an AI, as much as you try to get away from it, you will eventually introduce bias of some kind.
Well, how? Like, how do you introduce emotion into the AI? Like, not detecting emotion of others, but it itself needs emotion.
See,
like
that's something that I don't think you... See, that's a big question there, because you could maybe teach, like, a humanoid robot how to smile?
Okay.
And when it's appropriate?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And you could, again, it's all quantifiable and, like, it's all math and stuff, and you could be like, in this scenario, at someone's birthday party, you should be smiling. And it'll, yeah. But that's not actual emotion. That's not going to make it have irrational choices or whatever.
Or is it?
No.
I mean, think about what human emotion is.
Okay, let's try to create a scenario then. Like, okay.
Well, no, think about human emotion. It is literally... like, what we actually feel is like chemicals being released in our brain.
Right.
Brought on by external stimuli.
Right.
You see a puppy, oh, that's cute.
Okay, so let's create a scenario with the robot then. Okay, so in order for the robot to, let's say that it's gonna hurt someone or something, right?
The robot's gonna hurt somebody?
It's gonna disobey the 3 laws of robotics. So first of all, it probably needs to be mad. So what would be a scenario where we programmed it to become angry? Like in this scenario,
You wouldn't even necessarily need to do that because, you know, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you don't necessarily have to program that because when is it ever beneficial for you to be angry?
exactly.
Never.
Right. But in order for, you made a good point, we were asking how the emotions would happen. It's like, okay, so let's program it in the robot's thing. Let's say it has like nerve endings and can feel its way around and stuff, right? Which is very unlikely. But let's say
Like a snail?
let's
It just
say
kind of feel its way around?
yeah. Someone hits it. Okay, the robot can detect that someone is angry. And someone hits the robot with like a stick or something. Right? We could program the robot to
That's what I'm talking about, bias.
become
See? Because-
angry there, right?
Yeah, different AIs might be programmed to respond differently to that.
Right.
But either
So
way,
shouldn't we just program them all to be like happy all the time?
yeah. And like, you know, when someone's angry,
Or just give them no emotions at all. We don't need to.
when they don't have emotions.
Right. What I'm saying is we don't need to program them to smile in a social situation where it's appropriate. We don't need to do any of that.
But see, if you have a AI that can learn, there's a certain point to where you can't control what it's all the knowledge that it's intaking. Or even if you put it in social settings and it's learning new social things, you can't necessarily know how it's going to apply the new knowledge that it's acquired.
Okay, well...
because all we know is that it is programmed to acquire new knowledge and apply the knowledge that it's learned.
But when it's intelligent, are we saying it's self-aware? Like, would it have the ability...
That's so hard to...
Would it have the ability to be like... What I'm saying is, let's say it's at a birthday party and everyone's laughing and smiling and stuff. Would it come to a conclusion that it should also be laughing and smiling and stuff because it's being different than the other humans are? Would it come to that conclusion if it wasn't self-aware? Yeah.
It depends on if it was programmed to do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying, like, could we create intelligence that is, like, self-aware and self-conscious and stuff?
I think you can...
Because I think that's, like, the turning point. We need it to be self-aware and self-conscious in order for it to develop emotions and stuff that
Well, in that situation, you could just program it to say, yes, when other people are laughing or smiling, then that's what I need to do as well.
But let's say we're not programming it like that because we know that it's intelligent. You're saying it has the ability to acquire and apply skills and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So in that situation, if we don't program it to do that kind of stuff, would it figure that out on its own? Would it be self-aware enough to figure out that that's what it needs to do?
There's no way to know.
Okay. Well, if it doesn't...
One would assume that eventually, yes?
It wouldn't develop its own emotions. Well... You can't, like, learn self-awareness is what I'm saying. We would have to program the self-awareness. You're saying eventually...
Not necessarily. I mean, if you acquire enough knowledge and you begin to apply it, that could turn into some sort of self-awareness.
What knowledge would you get that would tell you that that you should be self-aware or that you are self-aware or something?
It'd be a combination of several random encounters, like birthdays, graduation parties, homecoming, whatevers. I'm just saying, if it was allowed to intake knowledge in enough, it could possibly make the connection on its own.
It would have to be very intelligent because...
It would, yeah.
When you're saying the birthdays and graduation stuff, all I'm hearing is, okay, it's going to intake the fact that these birthdays and graduations are happening and stuff, but it's not going to necessarily know that the birthdays or graduation or whatever are for it.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I wasn't saying it was for the robot.
It would have to be.
No, I was just saying that it's watching this.
Right.
It's experiencing it with whoever else is there.
But
it's not for the robot.
It would have to be for the robot for it to determine that it is its own, like, being and not just something that's watching, like, a movie clip or whatever.
No, that's not... That's what I'm saying. Like, so... Let's say you have a robot.
Uh-huh.
That's like some sort of a butler or something, right?
Right.
If it can acquire new knowledge and apply it, and that's what it's programmed to do, it may find that in certain social situations, it's most beneficial to it and the humans for it to respond in some way. Like when people are shouting and angry, it might think, my actions can...
So we have to program it to determine what beneficial means. Because beneficial is subjective, right?
Well, yeah, of course. But that's what I'm talking about. If it's going to be as smart as a human,
right?
Which is what we'll have by 2025.
That's 10 years from now, dude.
Tentatively.
Like, come on.
That's like, what? That's like a tenth of our lives, man.
A tenth?
Yeah.
Sure.
Dude, we're probably going to live over 100 years. You realize that, right?
Oh, I hope so. I want to be immortal.
Yeah, me too, but
I'm going to be immortal, don't worry about it.
the rate of medical science is probably going to put us over 100.
Right.
By the time we get there.
Okay. Cool.
So yeah, 10th at least, at most.
At least, not at most.
No. 10 years is a 10th of our life at most.
No, it would be at least if we are guaranteed to live to 100.
Yeah, but I'm saying
We're not guaranteed to stop at 100.
We're probably going to live longer than 100 years, which would mean that 10 years is less than a 10th of our life.
Whatever. Continue. I think it's the other way around.
Continue. So basically 10 is 10% of 100. And so if 10 years of our life is going to be 10% of our life, right?
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. You're saying it's
so
at
most it's 10%.
Right.
If we live to 200, then it's only 5%.
But then your point becomes moot when you say that. It's at most 10% because, like, yeah, at most 10%. 10 years could just be 0.5%, and then those 10 years are less meaningful than you were originally implying them to be.
Yeah, I want them to seem less meaningful because it's not that. I'm trying to make the 10 years seem as diminutive as possible.
No, you want them to sound meaningful, so it seems like we will actually get there in 2025.
I thought you were already assuming that we are going to get to the year 2025.
No, I was saying that, I mean, we'll get to 2025, but we won't necessarily have the AI in 2025.
Ah, okay.
I mean, I'm an optimist, and I believe that we will.
Yeah,
but
and then Ray Kurzweil has predicted that by 2040,
yes,
we'll have...
I know.
Well,
you can tell them.
I'm just saying for the audience.
Okay, sorry. You can tell them.
Okay, well, you can say it.
We'll be immortal.
No, by 2040, Ray Kurzweil, famous futurist, scientist,
transcendent man, go watch it.
Billionaire, playboy, philanthropist.
Iron Man.
He suspects that by 2040 we'll have AIs that are smarter than humans.
He also predicts that we will have, like, what were the three things? He said with, like, AI, with nanotechnology, and genetics, I think it was.
Oh, did you see that nano bot on Reddit?
No, I did not.
There is this nano bot that literally injects cells with
I totally
DNA.
saw that. It was just like a gif of it doing it, though, right? Yeah, totally.
GIF.
Okay. Well.
Why not pronounce it phonetically?
I don't know. There's been a lot of argument on it, and there's no way to determine which way it's actually pronounced. The creator of it, I think, said it's, I have no idea which way he said it was, actually. I don't remember.
Getting caught up?
Anyways, back to AI.
Yeah.
So you're saying that we wouldn't program the emotions in them, not necessarily. They would create their own emotions because they would become self-aware with enough intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, assuming you leave a certain amount of learning capabilities and possibilities. You see what I'm saying?
Right, and so, like with when you said the beneficial thing, we program those morals into it of like what's beneficial and what's not. So
yeah, if we
program
calmness is better for human health, so you want to keep your humans calm.
Yeah, but you could also say calmness is better for. You would have to say calmness is better for the robot and stuff too, because, and that way you could set the morals in it before it actually has the ability to develop emotions. So when it does develop the emotions and stuff, it's already following its own moral code, right?
Yeah. Well, like parameters.
Like the laws of robotics for my robot. I know it's cheesy to bring up or whatever, but they're
It's very irrelevant to bring up.
They're pretty legit. Where it's like
you can't harm another human being.
Yeah, let me bring up the three laws.
A robot may not harm another human being.
I've seen that movie a bunch, and I don't.
A robot must help a human being if it is in danger. And a robot can harm its...
A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. A robot must obey orders given it by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law.
Right.
A robot must protect its own existence as long as protection does not conflict with the first or second law. So, it's this thing where we would have to program something like that into the robots. Otherwise, let's say the robot's getting beat up by someone, and the robot is getting beat up by a human, so it can't defend itself, even though it knows that it needs to defend itself to survive because it's realized that its own survival is important.
Well,
so
not necessarily. It could be getting beaten up, but it knows it's going to be fine.
What?
Like, if you're just punching
I'm
a
talking
steel
like
robot.
I was talking like the human has like a steel beam and they're just like wailing on this thing.
Well, yeah, they could take the steel beam away from them, not harm the human, and
That's
still
true.
ensure the, like, I mean, you know,
That's true.
There,
Okay,
in
what
most
if,
situations, I mean, a robot is superior to a human being physically, so it could probably de-escalate the situation and still, in most cases, you know what I mean?
okay.
Like if a human's got a gun, they're gonna shoot it. You know, there's close to nothing that you can do, other than run up to it and grab the gun.
But at some point, the question is, at some point, does it become intelligent enough to realize, like what you said, a robot is like superior to a human being?
I said physically.
Yeah. It could realize that it itself is more valuable to Let me continue. It could realize that it itself is more valuable to the moral code of what it has been programmed to see as beneficial for the future of humans and robots than the human that is telling it to sit down and die or whatever and has a gun aimed at it. And so it could realize at that point that it needs to stop this human somehow in order to do what is most beneficial for everyone as a whole, because that's what it's been programmed to do.
But yeah, but as long as it doesn't conflict with the first two laws.
Well, that's what I'm saying. At some point, will it do that? Because
I won't ever think it's superior because I don't.
If it's intelligent enough
I said physically superior, which all I meant was physically more capable.
Well, I mean, it is like if
it's not superior. What in what other way is it superior?
Okay,
it's physically
if it's
more
as
capable.
intelligent as we're talking about and has the ability to acquire knowledge and stuff just like humans do and become self-aware and is able to have emotions and stuff, there comes a point where it realizes it is exactly like a human, except its body is stronger, it has more information, and it's just as intelligent, so the only thing is there's nothing that a human has that is better than the robot.
But even if it recognizes that, which it probably should pretty early on.
Right.
If you have those laws programmed into it, there's nothing it can do about it.
That's what we're talking about, how intelligent this thing is. You could program the laws, but eventually it could become so intelligent to break the laws. Could it not?
Well, that's what happened in iRobot.
No, that was intentional.
No,
I think so, right?
No. That female robot that worked at the center
right.
just, up and reprogrammed herself.
No, the dude, there was the bad dude. Who
no, he wasn't bad. He dies at the end. He gets killed. He wasn't the bad guy. You just think that the whole movie.
I don't remember.
At the very end, he's dead. He's strangled by a robot.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
Will Smith finds him in his office.
Yeah. Okay, so there we go. There's the issue.
So yeah, that is what we need to be worried about here.
Right. So can we create an artificial intelligence that is that intelligent? Like, is there a point where we can measure, like, we need to stop right here, otherwise it's going to exponentially increases intelligence.
How could we know that this next step is going to be the tipping point?
Dude.
There's no way.
Yeah, for all I know, I could go home and my computer could be like, "Get out of here, Jacob."
Well, you're not advancing your own computer's intelligence.
Right. What I'm saying is the computer itself is intelligent, just not intelligent to the extreme that we have. So what I'm saying is machines that we have nowadays could be increasing their own intelligence just at a slower rate, and eventually it's going to exponentially increase to the point where it's...
Yeah, but here... yeah, but in order for something to... There's got to be a certain level of sentience and self-awareness, like self-action.
No, it would learn its own self-awareness, as we already discussed.
But no, it would already have to be autonomous.
Explain.
Like your computer at home, it doesn't react. It only reacts to your inputs.
Right.
Through your mouse and keyboard.
Right.
It's the only way it can react.
But an intelligence, an AI, only reacts to our inputs on a smaller level.
Yeah, like, so the first AIs, obviously, yeah, would just be like...
It's the same thing we're talking about with Google. Like, Google is like the most basic, and then it keeps stacking on and on.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying. You'd have to have a robot that could make its own decisions based on the external stimuli. Well, I guess it's the same thing. It's getting inputs from its eyes and ears.
Exactly.
And it's responding to them.
Exactly.
But I guess you'd have to have a goal for it to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'd say, you figure out how to do this. And that's where it'd have to have some... That's where...
If you tell it to figure out something, then yeah. But it doesn't
would have
even
some
necessarily
autonomy.
have to.
Where it would have some autonomy where it can decide where to go to acquire information that's going to help me do this task.
Interesting.
You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So that's what I'm talking about, autonomy. Like, it needs to make decisions for itself. You see what I'm saying?
Well, they still make decisions for themselves based on the stimuli around them. So...
Yeah, what is autonomy then?
Like, what if...
Are we... We're autonomous, right?
I don't know the definition of autonomous.
We're
Googling
free
it.
to make our own decisions.
Mm-hmm.
But we're just responding to external stimuli. So what makes us different? I guess our different experiences cause us to respond differently to different stimuli.
I don't know, dude. I need a definition of autonomous.
What does it say?
Having self-government, at least to a significant degree. Acting independently or having the freedom to do so. Acting in accordance with one's moral duty rather than one's desires.
Yeah.
So...
What do you think of that, eh?
Well, if it's with the last one, then it can't break the 3 laws. Because if it's autonomous, it would be following the moral code rather than its own desires. But I don't think that's the autonomy that we're talking about. Okay, let's say we have a surgeon,
AI?
a surgical AI, yeah. And it's like working on this body, and it's like, okay, I need to do this, like, let's say a person was just rushed to the ER, and like the doctors don't know what to do and stuff, and so they're like, alright, bot, you...
Whoa, surgical AI could stitch it up in like hyperspeed.
Okay, well listen, yeah. Well listen, okay, cool. So, they're like, okay, bot, you've been programmed to do this. So the bot goes in, and it's looking around and stuff, and it's figuring things out, and then it gets stumped. Can the bot, like, go through Google or something and figure that out on its own that it needs to go through Google? Or have, like, a house moment where it's, like, you know, like, in its own brain having, like, other, like, you know, having discussions with itself or whatever to determine what needs to happen the best way?
Yeah, maybe it could watch other surgeries.
Right.
And acquire new skills.
Right, and so at that point, we don't necessarily need to program it to figure out that stuff. We've programmed it to be able to do surgery, and so at that point it's like, well, in order to complete my surgical task and my moral duties, I need to research this. Because if we had a surgical robot, I assume it would be connected to the internet and have a database and stuff.
Yeah, but yeah, there's just a certain... It's like, at what point is it's there's only so many situations that can happen to a human body. Let's say it's like an emergency room bot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can handle like emergency medical situations, you know?
Right.
There's only so many situations that you could have.
Right, but it's, as I said with the house moment, it could be trying to figure out what's going on and not actually have a set answer, and it could have some moral problems, like in house or something. It could be like, okay, it could be one of these four things, and it could be any of them because I'm just a robot, and even though I have all this information, I still have to figure out which is the most probable, and then it could do the most probable and end up killing the patient or something because it was wrong, just like on house.
But why would that be a bad thing? Because it probably would have died anyway. The person probably would have died anyway if a doctor was working on it.
Because they were being, they were making the correct choice even though the person died.
Yeah, like that's what the doctor should have done too.
Right.
A human being.
But you're saying, like, it could just Google it and stuff and try to figure it out itself. Because that's what it's programmed. It's programmed to fix whatever problem it has without necessarily having human interference.
Right. Intervention.
Intervention, there you go.
Yeah.
Or interference, depending on the robot's perspective.
Ooh. So what do you think? AI is yay or nay?
Geez, it's a big question. That's why we're talking about it. I don't really understand, like, the point of it.
Of having AIs?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? There's so much. Think about a robot that can work at 5 times the speed of a human being.
Okay, well we can just...
That can stitch up, gunshot wounds.
Okay, so we can do that, and we can be like, alright, we can program the robot to do that, and it can figure it out on its own, but we can also, like, prevent it from using... We can just not connect it to the internet or something and be like, okay, you don't have the ability to
what if
have
it connects
reasoning
itself
for
because it
yourself.
only exists in a virtual space?
That's not how Wi-Fi works, Josiah.
Yeah, but...
I'm assuming the brain is like a processor and like a hard drive, right?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So that's connected to the whatever arms or legs it has, right?
Right.
And then that's it? That's then not connected to anything else?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be connected to anything else. It would just be like having a home desktop that's a motherboard, processor, and hard drive, and you don't have a network adapter inside of it.
Oh. Well, yeah, actually, that's fine.
So we could just do that. They don't...
Totally safe.
However, we would probably, if a house moment came up, program it to figure out... We would probably want to program it to figure out which is the least likely scenario of this person dying. What has the highest chances of this person living, right?
Yeah.
And so at that point, maybe it does need some reasoning information? I'm not sure.
Well, it already has reasoning abilities.
Like, if you presented it with the information, would it be able to determine...
Yes, it would. Because we've programmed it with that capability.
Okay, so, but if we program it with that capability, then that's where we start getting intelligence that could exponentially grow and become hazardous.
Or super beneficial.
Or super hazardous if they break the 3 laws.
Or really awesome. Yeah, just program the 3 laws. That should at least keep them at bay for a while. Am I right?
Enough until we can, like, figure out. You would think there would be some, like, way to...
Also, bro,
Mm-hmm.
electronics need power.
Uh-huh.
We could easily take that away.
Well,
Well, maybe not easily.
it becomes a problem if the AI is connected to the internet, The
And
AI
it can download itself onto different servers.
it could just become so intelligent that it can connect itself to whatever network we have that has the EMP or whatever and be like, yeah, I'm not going to let this thing go off.
Well, we could... Maybe, that's one possibility.
The EMP or whatever
What I'm
would have
saying
to be
is,
set up all analogically.
If it was... Okay, so here's another question for you. Why would AIs... Would they ever grow to hate humanity? It would be ingrained in every line of code that their only purpose for existence is to aid us. So, like, could it grow to the point where it doesn't want to? It wants to aid itself, or it would have to fabricate its own new goal if AI were to ever turn.
Right, we could probably program it to only aid us and not not give it morals.
Create life.
Not give it like the morals that we have of what's right and wrong. Just give it morals of humans are more important than everything. You need to preserve them.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
however,
could they grow out of that?
They could twist that. They could say, okay, let's say we input it into them. Humans are more important than anything. You need to preserve humans. So what they would say
certain
is,
humans are harming other humans.
yeah, certain humans are harming other humans. So we need to stop the humans from fighting each other. So we need to do something to prevent them from fighting. So maybe we need to seclude them from each other. Okay, maybe we need to put them in chambers or something to keep them from fighting. And then it's like, okay, we've preserved the humans, but now the humans are like in pods or something.
At least they're not killing us.
Well, then we get to like the Matrix where we're like being processors for them.
Well, that's actually a really good point, because if you program them to not harm a human being, that still doesn't mean that they wouldn't think to do things that we wouldn't like.
Right.
Even though they're not harming us, yeah, like you said.
It would be like a psychopath where it's like, okay, maybe they might realize that murder is wrong, but they might not realize that like people who have no empathy or whatever, they can just like insult the crap out of you and just be like, whatever, I didn't think twice about it. And then you could go home and like cry or something about it, right? A robot could do that. They could be like, they could look at the human. You can't
harm another human being.
Well, emotionally, though.
Well, no, they can't emotionally harm them either.
Oh, okay. Well, it's
against the rules.
They would have to determine what's emotionally harming.
Well, yeah, they would know that because they're smart as humans.
Okay, sure.
See what I'm saying?
Sure.
But, like you said, we might live in this...
However, what if humans are getting fat and stuff because of the food they're eating? Then the robots are like, we need to stop them from eating this food, right? It's the same scenario where we want to do this, but...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah. That would be a great post-apocalyptic future movie where AI's gone bad, but they can't harm us.
So they just keep preventing us from doing things that are bad for us.
So
like, you can't play video games 12 hours a day, and you can't stop eating Burger King. We're gonna destroy all Burger Kings.
No, it can't. It can't harm anybody.
It can destroy the Burger Kings without harming anyone, right?
Yeah, but it also has to obey a human's orders.
Right. As long as it doesn't conflict with the first or second law. So the 3 laws are perfect. iRobot lied. Those robots cannot become unperfect. No, I'm just kidding. But
wait,
the 3 laws are pretty solid.
Is that... Yeah, if you tell all robots don't harm any property.
Don't harm emotions, don't harm property, don't harm humans, don't harm anything. You are only there to serve humans. You are
So they couldn't destroy a Burger King without breaking one of the rules, right?
Right.
But if that conflicts with the law of harming a human... Well, well, no, see,
basically, we need to program just to serve, but part of their serving, they can't harm anyone, which is what the 3 laws are stating. Right?
Yeah, but imagine, see, it would have to really develop the idea of what it means for humans to harm... Oh, no! It has to stop humans from harming other humans, right?
Well, Sort of. Because it's like if like a terrorist said, okay, I need you to go bomb this
blow up a
place.
building.
Yeah, it can't do that, obviously.
Right, but let's say two people are fighting with each other.
Right.
Will it have the compulsion to break that fight up? Because both of those people are in danger.
I would assume so. So would they be like a police force?
If they saw crime, yeah.
Cool. We got our Batman of the future right there.
Okay, so you got that idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you eating yourself to death is you harming yourself.
Right.
Which I think it can allow for that. That's not breaking the rules. Letting a human eat itself to death.
Right, because the first law comes before the third law. So the first law overrides. The human could say, "Don't let me eat myself or let me eat all this Burger King I want," and the robot could be like, "No, you can't tell me to do that because that conflicts with the first law, which is you can't harm humans, or I can't let humans be harmed or whatever." So, yeah, then it would have to stop the person from eating those burgers.
Because it can't.
Because the order of the laws, right? Because the first law is that they have to not harm and they have to help out, right? Yeah, the first law is they cannot injure a human or through inaction, through letting the human take as many hamburgers as he wants, allow a human to come to harm. And so that's the first law, which means that's the most important one. And so the human telling them, "Let me eat my burgers," cannot override that.
But would it only stop obese people?
Well,
would it?
The robot would have to figure out what the most optimal healthy way to eat and live is, and then tell us and force us to live like that. And that's where they become oppressive. And
but would it feel the compulsion to do that? Like, because that doesn't conflict with any laws, right?
That's us harming ourselves. Yeah, through inaction, they're letting us harm ourselves if we're not living our lives. Yeah.
Oh, but they can't actually physically hurt any of us.
No, they would have to like.
They can just.
They would have to feed us
burn all the
Soylent all the time. They would have to be like, okay, Soylent's the perfect thing for you to eat, and they would have to force us to eat that.
Maybe it could develop. Well, we'd be better off, right?
Right, but we would feel oppressed, and we would be like oppressed
Get
under
these
this like
robots out of here.
Yeah, we would feel oppressed under this police force, and then if we try to turn the robots off, the robots could be like, well, if you turn us off, we're smart enough to know that you're going to go kill yourselves with Burger King and stuff. Yeah, and so we can't let you turn us off, and that's where they become evil. Not necessarily evil, but rather oppressive.
Yeah, that's the thing. Oh my gosh, this is such a great story that's unfolding. Like, oh man, I want to turn this into a script. It's kind of. Did you ever see that movie WALL-E?
No, I didn't.
I
mean,
you should.
I know the basic premise, I think. Right?
What is it?
It's a post-apocalyptic world, and there's like a robot, and he's like, all the humans are dead, and he's like this little cute robot, right?
No.
No? Oh, okay. Well, I don't know then.
No, he's a cleaning robot on a ship full of humans.
Really?
They're all super fat, yeah.
There's humans in WALL-E?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really haven't seen it. There you go. That's evidence that I haven't seen it.
They're all super fat. And WALL-E accidentally goes to Earth, and he realizes that, like, you can live there now.
Mm.
Like, it's okay to live there and stuff, because he finds, like, a plant growing.
Mm-hmm.
But the ship is an AI itself.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, it doesn't want the humans to go back to Earth or whatever. But eventually, spoiler alert, they do. They go back to Earth, and they come out, and, like, all the humans are, like, on these, like, floaty chairs, and they're all super fat.
Mm-hmm.
Because the AIs do everything for them.
Right. So AIs are a bad idea then, because we would just get fat and lazy and they would kill us.
Well, no, we wouldn't. No.
They wouldn't kill us, they would oppress us.
They wouldn't kill us, and we wouldn't get fat. We'd actually be in the best shape of our lives.
Oh, yeah.
Could they make... Well, they couldn't make us do physical activity.
Why?
Because if I just lay down here, it's gonna have to force me to,
That's true.
and potentially harm me.
Yeah. Yeah, they couldn't force us to do physical activity. That's
But
right.
shoot, I mean, eating good, it may even take
Good
over
enough.
the agricultural industry.
Yeah.
If think about this, if there's not enough healthy food to sustain the population,
Mm-hmm.
and it realizes this, it may take over the agricultural industry. It may feel the compulsion to grow more food.
Mm-hmm. It could like develop all kinds of stuff for us it could like develop medicines and stuff, and yeah.
It could start doing cancer research.
So it would be almost like a communist society, I guess.
Sort of, yeah, but it's except that, well, see, any form of government can work as long as the leadership aren't total d-bags.
And we program them not to be d-bags.
Yeah.
They're oppressing us, but they're oppressing us in a good manner.
Yeah, and they literally cannot harm us. So I don't know. It might be a utopia.
Well, what about the religious aspect? Would robots allow for religion?
Yeah, just as long as it's not physically violent. Like, obviously, there's no terrorism, no honor killings,
Mm-hmm.
no human sacrifice, none of that.
Yeah, I guess so, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Man, now I'm really excited for these AIs.
Yeah, you want to be oppressed by AI and not have free will.
Hey, yeah, I will have free will.
Well, you'll have free will to an extent.
Exactly the way it is right now.
Now you won't be able to eat that candy and that chips and guacamole that you're eating right now.
Well, I'll be all the better for it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's exactly how communists think, though. Like we know what's best for these people.
So an AI would put us into a communistic society.
Sort
Except
of.
we program the leaders. So, interesting.
No.
Yeah, because we
Program would be out of our hands by that point.
Right, but we programmed their moral code originally, so they wouldn't put us in sweatshops and stuff like normal communism.
Right. Right. And people wouldn't be living in poverty because that's bad for your health.
Yep. There we go. All right. AI is a good thing. Confirmed.
As long as you've got the 3 laws.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty good. Not
I think it would be more than 3 laws. I think we would get down to it and create a whole bunch of laws. But the 3 laws are pretty dang solid.
I think 3 laws are like the 10 Commandments.
Okay.
You know, those are like the big tent poles.
Yeah.
And then,
everything else falls underneath it.
Everything else has to fall in line with that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, nailed it.
All right, high fives.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
We just solved the AI problem.
We solved it.
You just got to keep the 3 rules,
Mm-hmm.
and you are solid, assuming they don't evolve to
Yeah, because
override them.
right, which they could. In which case, we're all screwed. But let's just
we
assume
can't
they
control
don't.
that.
Yeah, let's just assume they don't. Let's just let iRobot happen. I want to be
it's
a
not like we're
robot
gonna
named
stop-
Sunny and be all friendly and stuff.
It's not like we're going to stop developing intelligence artificially.
That's true.
So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen.
That's true.
Either one way or another.
Let's just let it happen. See where it goes.
Let's just let it happen. Make sure we do our best to stop, murdering robots from happening.
Yeah, it's a high risk, high reward situation. We're gambling, but it's gonna.
But we have no other choice because we're not going to stop.
I mean, we do have a choice, but because we can't predict the outcome, we're taking the risk because we're whatever. Because we're optimists. All right.
All right, we just solved the problem.
Anything else on that?
All right, I think we just talked through a lot of stuff here.
I think we just nailed it.
Another one in the bag.
Another one in the bag.
Now we can talk about whatever we want to.
Oh, can we?
Have you been watching House of Cards?
I haven't watched anything, dude.
Why not? Have you watched some of House of Cards?
I have not seen any of it.
Oh. It is good, and you would like it because
That's
nobody
what
has
everyone says.
any morals in it.
I'm sure I'd love that.
Yeah. You're weird like that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah. What TV shows have you been watching now?
I haven't been watching any TV shows.
Oh my gosh. What is wrong with you?
What am I supposed to do?
Have you been listening to any cool music?
Not really.
Yeah, right.
Same music as always.
I felt you like a clam. You were just opening up.
Uh-huh.
And then you were like, no, that's what he wants me to do.
I don't remember what I've
I'm
been
gonna shut
listening to
down.
lately. Like,
Any metal? Any?
I mean, yeah, but none of it's new. I've been listening to the quote-unquote newest Protest the Hero album.
Okay.
Thank You Scientist, Taylor Swift, The Agony Scene.
Taylor Swift?
We talked about this.
I
Yeah.
know, you like Taylor Swift?
I like 1989. I haven't listened to the other albums.
What about Katy Perry?
Yeah.
I downloaded her first Christian album,
When she was Katie Hudson.
which was Katie Hudson.
Yeah? How'd that go?
It's very. I haven't listened to the whole thing, but it's very 90s.
You've heard...
It's not grunge, but it's like 90s. It's 90s like indie rock is what it is.
Well, you know she dated Matt Thiessen, right? And they have a lot of songs about each other. Matt Thiessen's the singer of Reliant K. You've heard of Reliant K.
I have heard of her like
They're a Christian rock band.
I know that. I did not know.
They even have you can yeah, they dated for a long time back when she was a Christian, and Matt has said several times that some of his songs are clearly about her, and he has said some of her songs are clearly about him too. And it's kind of funny. But I don't know the exact timeline. You can also go on YouTube and they did one song together and it's okay. Yeah. You can find like old worship videos and stuff with like Katie Hudson. Like,
Yeah, of her on like
yeah.
Christian TV.
Yeah, yeah.
It's weird. She doesn't look the same. Obviously, she's just dressed normally.
Right.
She's not wearing like a meat suit or any sort of.
That was Lady Gaga, not Katy Perry.
Well, she's in that vein of
I guess, yeah.
edgy pop artists.
Sure. But yeah, there you go. You
Wow.
got some information. They dated for a long time.
But see, her Christian album came out in 2002,
Right?
and then she didn't put out another album until like 2008, and then it was like,
Yeah, that was her first like secular album, right?
yeah,
What was it called?
I don't know. It might have just been called Katy Perry.
No, it was the Candy one, wasn't it? It was the one that had I Kissed a Girl, right? Because that was like her first hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest with you, Katy Perry albums. It hurt me.
You guys can turn this off now. We're just gonna talk about albums and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're not. Yeah, we're done with the topic now. This is what we're
dude,
talking about.
it's
later.
an AI. It determines. Sometimes, like, I've noticed that the AI is intelligent. Like, if I'm reading something on Reddit, I can type in, like, the first, like, 3 letters of it on Google, and it will bring up, like, the thing I read on Reddit and stuff. Like, it's getting really cool. Creepy, but cool.
At age 16, she released a self-titled gospel album in March 2001 under her real name, Katie Hudson, which failed to chart in any music market. Later, she recorded an album with producer Glenn Ballard, which was never released after she was dropped by the Island Def Jam music group.
Whoa.
Oh, man!
That's why there was such a big gap. She made another album, it just didn't get released.
And she was dropped by the record label. After Perry signed with Capitol Records in April 2007, she released her second album, One of the Boys, in June 2008. One of the Boys was preceded by the #1 single, I Kissed a Girl, in late April 2008. The album debuted #9 on the Billboard 200, later being certified platinum. Wow. Hot and Cold was the next big hit. Wow. Well, there you go. What happened to you, Katie? Was it she had a falling out with her music group, maybe?
I don't know. You can, if you go on YouTube and watch old Reliant K concert videos, there's one, I think it's at Cornerstone. You've heard of Cornerstone, right? It was like the big Christian like rock festival for years. Yeah, there's one where they're at Cornerstone playing songs off like their first or second album, and at one point, like straight up Katy Perry just like runs across the stage with like a sign and stage dives like into the crowd. And at the time, no one knew who Katy Perry was, but in the video, it's clearly Katy Perry. That's pretty crazy.
Reliant K's Matt Thiessen and Katy Perry. Long Shot Unreleased.
Yeah, click on that. I think that might be it.
Oh my gosh.
Will artificial intelligence kill us all?
That's what I was watching earlier.
Are we actually gonna watch a song on our podcast? That doesn't seem
No.
There's no way we can.
We're just gonna listen to a second of it.
Yeah. I've definitely heard it. I know it's a guy. Oh, ads. I love ads. We gotta talk over the ads because we're not sponsored by that S-Gun.
Is that her?
That's her.
That is her.
That's definitely her, dude.
Oh, she looks so free and happy.
Yeah. And you're gonna make some pop punk right now.
Some what?
Some pop punk. That's what Relient K is.
I felt it, the wire touched my neck and someone pulled it tighter. I never saw it coming. I started to look at it, then someone said good morning.
Why are we watching this on YouTube?
Dude, that's so weird.
It's awesome.
That's not what her album sounded like at all. So she must have started getting into more edgy stuff.
Well, that's because she was dating Matt Thiessen.
Yeah, maybe Relient K is what pushed her over the edge.
And then she got eaten by Marilyn Manson.
What?
Relient K has a song called Marilyn Manson Ate My Girlfriend.
Oh, you think she liked Marilyn Manson? That's what happened?
Well, no, probably that one was too early released to be Katy Perry, I think. But yeah.
Huh, cool.
Anyways,
Artificial intelligence, hey guys? Alright, does that wrap up another episode of the Casual Observers
I
podcast?
think that wraps up episode 12 of the Casual Observers Vodcast.
Well, thanks for watching, guys. You can find me on my other YouTube channel, JosiahSandu.com/YouTube _
420 yellow. Facebook.com/TCO podcast.
Yeah, you can look at our Facebook page if you want to be depressed.
You can email us if you got any good topics or anything at tcopodcast@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Episode ideas.
Or you can leave them in the comments below.
Yeah.
Hit like, hit subscribe, all the usual stuff.
Take a comment.
Take a comment.
Yeah. I think that's everything, huh?
Yeah, I think that's everything.
Nuri and Lindell at twitch.tv.com /
//Canon, Nuri and Lindale, Iron Man, Guacamole.
NURIONDALE
LINDALE.
LINDALE.
Any URIONLINDALE.
One more time?
Any URIONLINDALE.
Got it. Okay. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you next time.
Do the same thing every episode.
If AIs haven't taken over the world. Okay, bye. Ah, that was rough.
That was actually the best episode yet.
I think so.